Hello everybody. I wanted to show you a couple of live examples of using jQuery Mobile to create both tablet and smaller device interfaces. What we're looking at is two different projects, and they're off the same data, and the zip file for this can be found in this week's materials. But what's good about this is that if we click on both on these things, we can go to different sections. Now, this is clearly jQuery Mobile. You can sort of tell by how it works, and this is just the setup with the framework. But when I go to the tablet template itself and we look at the source code, you can get a good idea of the structure. So what's interesting about this and what's important is that you've got the mobile structure CSS first, and then you've got a base style sheet that overrides the jQuery Mobile right below it, and then below that we have very specific CSS. Now this is the structure that you would need. It's very important in jQuery Mobile because it's very dominant with its CSS. As you probably saw from the first video on jQuery Mobile where I showed you an example of a kiosk, it's very difficult to override jQuery Mobile's styles. Now, one thing that's important is this. There is a mobile initialization listener, and when this happens, when mobile gets initialized, we create the function and then we make our transitions equal to whatever they're going to be. In this case, none, because this entire script is held within this one page. Okay, so what's good about this script is that it's got dynamic content. This is our data. So let's say Acadia, we have all those examples right here. The data is there. This is JavaScript object notation. It's a parks object, and it has an array of 1. That's what that block is for. And if we go to the actual jQuery Mobile section here, I'm going to go to, here's the mobile demos, and we go into the tablet and look at the values of things. There's JS, and you'll see that JSON's right in here, and inside our section here we have thumbs and images for everything. And I'm going to show you something else real quick. As far as icons, we have all our icons separated, and as far as CSS, we've got our images inside here with more icons. And let me go forward a little bit, and that's why when we come inside this section, we have everything organized. So back to our tablet here. What I'd like to show you is, let's say we reduce the bandwidth on this. Now this, you see that mobile, it's not really viable because the image does not take up more than 30% of the width. Okay, so that's why we have two different sections. But when we look at our actual code, you'll see that we have park name, and that's a page. We have park details. We have the about section. So inside this one page, we have 3 different pages. So let's take a look at one. If I click on American Samoa, I'm going to the park details page. Okay, so if I go to, let's go to all these will be park details, but the about section is again this. So on click, we have everything self-contained into one index file. And here's the park name page. So if I were to go to park name page, this is going to have the U.S. National Parks as the top section. So that's your header. So I'm going to go back, click back, and that's where you can tell that it's very jQuery mobile centric because it's all in one with back buttons and forward buttons. So that is a very simple thing where we're loading JSON into the tablet view. Well, let's take a look at the mobile. And this mobile, let me go to mobile version, is going to be nothing more than a list items. So we can use this and it's using the same exact data source. However, we have a filtration system that's given to us in the demos of jQuery Mobile, where if I type in Acadia, you see that it's a live reduction. Now, this isn't anything asynchronous. This is simply going through an array of JSON data and on key press reducing what we do. And when I click on this, I go to the exact same park details page. Of course, it opens up separately, and then we have all of our values. So we click About, go back to the section, and let me go back to the filter here. So there should be a back button in here that's not, but you get an idea of how this template works. So for the actual mobile section, it's almost the same exact files and group of files, but it's going to have a different style CSS and what's going on. So we have the data role that actually is the page, and the button tells us what it is. There's the data ID, data position, data theme. All of these values are being used to populate this section. So I encourage you to download these and experiment with them. I would be tempted. I like the idea of really making a nice iPad app separate, but you could easily converge this and merge them into one system, and that way you wouldn't have to even do a device detection. So that's a huge thing. The fact that you could just write a few more media queries and turn both these into something good. So what I'm saying here is this would be the media query for the smaller devices under 768, and then we could change the HTML entirely for the tablet based on if it's 768 to 1024. Anyway, I hope you dive into that. I know there's a project due that you may select the jQuery mobile example. It's very easy to work with. I can't speak to its value moving forward because so many technologies have come out, and whether that would make a good portfolio piece for you. But it would be a good lesson in learning something new and diving into mobile issues, because it's going to necessitate mobile testing. Anyway, if you have any questions, please email me.